So Jesus is saying is, you see me around the table because I'm flesh to you. But when you don't see me any longer, he says, I'm still here. So I need for you to have peace and have good cheer in me. Because he's not going to always be in this world. Amen? So he says this. He said, now have peace and joy in me. But then he goes and says, now in this world you will have trials and tribulations. Amen? So now this lets us know while we're here that we're going to have trials and tribulations. But then he says something very, very good to the believer. But he says, be of good cheer, for I have already overcame this world. So everything that you will ever go through, he said, I already overcame it. So every person that, when you see something and you're going through something, you're experiencing something that's kind of pushing you and it's pushing you, you give to God all that you know to give him. You're like, God, I'm praying, I'm fasting, and God, I come to church and I'm trying to be a good steward over what you give me. And God, I fall down, I mess up sometimes, but you know what, God, you always give me enough grace because you love me.
Yes.
That you didn't take me from this world. So you're giving me a chance to make this thing right. And so I thank you for it. And God says this, Jesus says this because the Father and the Son are one. He says this, he says, now, I have already overcame the world. Well, what is Jesus saying? I've already overcame your trials and your tribulations. I've already overcame them. He's telling the disciples, stop, don't trip about what you're about to see. Don't trip about when can I say that word, trip? Don't trip, don't trip. He says, don't trip about when you see them come and get me. Do not trip when you see them take me from judgment hall to judgment hall. Do not trip when you see them beat me. Do not trip when you see them whip me. Do not trip when you see them place a crown of thorns on my head. Do not trip when you see them rip my clothes off and they gamble for it. He said, do not trip when you see them take me or allow me to carry the cross up a rugged hill. He said, don't trip about that. Don't trip when you see them nail me to the cross. Do not trip even when you see them pierce me in the side. Please don't trip when you see them nail those big spikes in my hands and my feet. Because he says, one thing's going to happen on the cross. He says that I am going to overcome the world by the cross.